Good morning children, how are you? I hope everyone will be safe at home. Today we are going to see the lesson, the matter around us. Before starting our lesson, I would like to recall what we studied in this lesson, the previous portions in the previous class. Right. So, we know that, I hope that you remember the lesson what I am taking as matter around us. In this lesson, we studied about matter. So, matter I already studied in the lower classes. It exists in three states like solid, liquid and gas. And also we studied about what is atoms, what is molecules, ions and elements. And so you can just go through the definitions already I took in the previous class. Now we are going to, and the next topic we deal is types of symbols. So in the olden days, to mention the elements, they mention some symbols to identify. So symbols is just to identify a sign or the notification to identify what type of metals, like that you can able to identify. So types of symbols in the olden days, they use Greek symbol, after that alchemist symbol, and then Dalton symbol and Berzelius symbol. So at present we are using the Berzelius symbols, which is made up of alphabets. So here present method for determining symbols of the elements is already taught. So I'll recall how to write. If there is a letter for element and non-metals like carbon, oxygen is present, we will write as a symbol, a single letter as in a capital letter, as for carbon it is mentioned as C. If you have the same letters, the first letters will be the same. In such cases, we will go for the next two letters, like I will take the letter as aluminium and arsenic. So you can see the difference between two because the first letters are same. So you can see here the first letter should be in capital and the second letter should be in small letters. I hope you can understand. So these are the things we studied how to write, and some elements are mentioned using the country, using the scientist name, also using some Latin names and Greek names given for that. For example, when I take iron, it is mentioned as Fe, but the Latin name for that is ferrum, so it is taken as Fe. So iron symbol is Fe. I hope you can understand all this content what we studied in the previous class. And also we dealt with metals and non-metals. Elements are classified into metals, non-metals and semi-metals, are otherwise called as metalloids. In the previous class, we studied about the properties of metals and non-metals, the physical properties. So I said what is just seeing the appearance, the way it reacts, all these things is called as physical properties. So the properties of metals and non-metals I have written here, the physical state. So whether it will be a solid or liquid, that's a condition of the physical state. In metals, all the metals will be in solid state at room temperature. Whereas non-metals, it may be solid, liquid or gas. Some may be solid, some may be liquid, some may be gas. So it is the physical state of the metals and non-metals. The next one is M. I have written as M. It is melting point. I have written in the short form. So melting point, boiling point and density of metals will be usually high. Whereas comparing to non-metals, it will usually low. The next one we study, we are dealing with ductility and malleability. I said you what is ductility and malleability. When you take an iron or a gold, if you hammer it, it can able to hammer. It will be very hard, so you can easily hammer it. But when I take the non-metals like carbon, you just take your pencil lead, it is made up of graphite. So it is very soft. You just hit with a hammer, it will break. So it is soft and brittle. So brittle means easy to break. That is the meaning of brittle. So here ductility and malleability. Ductility means that is you can able to drawn into a thin sheet. You can able to hammer it, and malleability is drawn into a thin sheet. So that's the meaning. So it is good. For metals, it will be good. You can able to make a copper wire, you can make an aluminium wire, gold thin wire you can able to make. But as it is very soft and brittle, you can't able to make as a wire. So it is very poor. So coming to the next one, electrical conductivity. The metals can conduct electricity in a very good way. That is, the conductivity will be good. So whereas for this it is very poor. The exception case is graphite. Graphite can conduct electricity, but other non-metals cannot conduct. That's the meaning of this one. So electrical conductivity of metals will be good, and for the non-metals it will be very poor. So up to this I have taught in the previous class. I hope you can understand what are things I have taught so far. Now we are going to see about the uses of metals and non-metals. We are using every day all these things in our day-to-day life. Without our knowledge we are using. For example, this table is made up of a metal. It is a combination. It is made up of iron. You can see it get rust after some days if it is not used. So iron is a metal which is used to break big bridges, and so many so many things are made up of iron. As well as copper. Copper is used in the electrical as a copper wire in the electricity it is used as. The next one is silver, gold. All these things is used for ornaments. For our beautiness, we are using this silver and gold. The next one is mercury, is a metal used in the thermometer, which is helpful to measure our temperature body. The next one is aluminium. It's very easy to understand. Aluminium is also used for the electrical wires. You can be able to see the aluminium wires, as well as is used for utensils. In so many places it is used. And the lead is used in the batteries, which can able to conduct the current, and we can able to make the charges also. The next one is the non-metals. So non-metals means, if I can say, diamond, sulfur, phosphorus, nitrogen, chlorine and hydrogen. Diamond, it's very understandable. It is used in the accessories like jewelry part, as well as is used for the cutting, as a cutting non-metal also. Then sulfur, it is used in the matchboxes. You can able to see the strip will be made up of sulfur. It can able to make fires. As well as phosphorus is also used to make the matchboxes, and rat poison is there. Then nitrogen is used for manufacturing ammonia. So what is the use of ammonia? Ammonium is used in so many places. It is used as fertilizers. It is used as the explosives. We know that recently we have heard the news that ammonium nitrate is used in the city called Lebanon, where it got a big blast. So ammonium nitrate is used for preparation of ammonia. The next is chlorine. Chlorine water, hear this word chlorine. Chlorine is used as a bleaching agent for sterilizing water. The next one is hydrogen. Hydrogen is used as a rocket fuel, and also it is used for cutting and welding purposes. So these are the uses of metals and non-metals. The next thing we are going to learn is metalloids. I expect everyone to have the book in your hand while I'm taking this lesson, so it will be easy to understand. So metalloids, the elements which have both the properties of metals and non-metals. So it is called as semi-metals. It will have both the properties of some metals. It may be solid, some may be liquid. Like that, it may have both the properties. So it is called as metalloids, or otherwise called as semi-metals. So the examples are here as boron, silicon, germanium, antimony, tellurium and polonium. All these things comes under the category as semi-metals or metalloids. It can able to make an alloy. So stainless steel is an alloy. It is made up of so many metals fused together. What is an alloy? When 2 or 3 metals fuse together, it makes an alloy. Then the next one, let us go to the uses. It is given in your book. Uses of metalloids. Silicon is used in electronic devices. Boron is used in fireworks and as a fuel for ignition in rockets. So these are the uses that is given in your book. We have so many things the uses are there. The next topic we are going to deal is nothing but compounds. So there are the words, we use the words compounds, mixtures in chemistry. So what is the difference, main difference between compounds and mixtures? First I will tell you what is compounds. Compound is a pure substance which is formed due to the chemical combination of 2 or more elements or constituents in a fixed ratio. The mass will be fixed, only this much amount of, if you prepare lemon juice, lemon juice or a coffee. So you have a fixed ratio of the constituents to be added. For 1 tumbler of milk, you will add 1 spoon of coffee powder or 1 spoon of sugar, like that. So it's perfectly it is mixed in such a way. So that is the method. Just for an example, I said this preparation of coffee. Don't immediately imagine that. So compounds, it have a fixed amount. That's the meaning of it. Whereas mixture, we are eating mixture. You can see so much of things will be mixed together. There is no proper constituents. You can't count only this much of this thing should be added, only 10 cashew nuts should be there, only 10 pepper should be there, not like that. It is just mixed in such a way. That's the difference between compound and mixtures. So here I said, okay, I will say again, a compound is a pure substance which is formed by 2 or more constituents in a fixed ratio by mass. For example, when I take water, an example I will take water. So H2O. Here, how many parts of hydrogen is taken? 2 parts, and 1 part of oxygen is taken. So it will be measured as 2:1, and by mass it is 1:8. In such a way it is maintained. So in such constant only you will get the proper compound, that is called as compound. There are 2 types of compounds. One is, the compounds are classified into 2. One is organic compound, other one is inorganic compound. From the name organic, we are using organic in our day-to-day life, so many places this word, we are hearing these words. So organic means it is getting naturally. That is, it is obtained from the natural sources. That is called as organic, that is living sources. Organic compounds are compounds which is obtained from the living sources. That is called as organic compounds. I can say the examples as proteins, carbohydrates, all these things are organic compounds. What is then inorganic compounds? The compounds obtained from the inorganic sources, that is from the rocks, from the earth, that's called as inorganic compound. From these sources we get. So this is called as mineral compounds also, or we generally use the word inorganic compounds. The examples, chalk. Chalk is an inorganic, it can be prepared in the laboratory. Then baking powder, all these things comes under the category inorganic compound. So we are dealing with the topic compound. What is a compound? Compound is a pure substance that is formed by the chemical combination of 2 or more elements or constituents by a fixed ratio of mass. That is the main thing you have to keep in your mind. And it is again classified into 2. One is organic compound, other one is inorganic compound. So organic compound, I can say the example which is obtained by from the natural source. That is called the proteins, carbohydrates are obtained. The plants and animals can able to produce the proteins and carbohydrates, that is called as natural source. That is called, so that is comes under the category organic compound. Inorganic compound, it can be able to prepared in the laboratories. That is example we can say is chalk and baking powder. Not only these things, we have so many things we are preparing in the laboratory. So all these organic and inorganic can exhibit in the 3 states of matter. It may be in solid, liquid or gases. So it can available in all the 3 states of matter. So let us see what are the compounds in the solid state, what are the compounds are in the liquid state, and what are the compounds are in the gas state. Please have your book in your hand. So I will just read out, or I will just see and say what is it. So compounds in solid state is silica, the general sand which is on the floor, that is called as silica. What are the combinations? Silica formula is, I will just rub it so that it will be easy for you to understand. Silica is nothing but made up of silicon, oxygen, SiO3. So it is made up of silica and oxygen. The next one, SiO3, is a formula for, this is a chemical formula for silica. The next is potassium hydroxide. So potassium hydroxide, the formula is KOH. K is mentioned for potassium and OX is hydroxide. What are the elements are present? This is potassium, oxygen and hydrogen. So these are the things are present in this. So all these things comes under the solid category. Potassium. The next one is Sodium hydroxide is also otherwise called as caustic soda. Sodium Na, hydroxide OH. So you can able to see what are the elements are present here. This is sodium, oxygen, hydrogen is present. So these are the compounds which are prepared by the chemical combination by a fixed ratio. The next one is copper sulfate. Cu is the symbol for copper, SO4 sulfate. You will know to write all these chemical formulas when you go for the higher classes, the next class. So copper, sulfur and oxygen. So these are the elements, constituents of copper sulfate. The next one is zinc carbonate. So ZnCO3 is otherwise called as calamine. So Zn, zinc, C is carbon and O3 is oxygen, that is O is oxygen. So these are the elements, these are the compounds of which is present in the solid state. Let us go to the next one is compounds in liquid state. These are the compounds in solid state. Please make a note of the formulas. You just have an idea of it. So it will be easy when you go for the higher class. So next we are going to see about the compounds in the liquid state. So I will write the chemical formula for that. It will be easy to remember. So compounds in liquid state. In your book they have given some compounds like water, H2O. What are the elements are present? Hydrogen, as I said already, hydrogen, water, oxygen. Then we have the acids like hydrochloric acid is nothing but HCl. So we have hydrogen and Cl is chlorine. The next we have the nitrous acid, that is nitric acid, HNO3. All these formulas are not there in your book, so I am just writing here. So HNO3, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. Hydrogen, nitrogen and oxygen is present. The next is sulfuric acid, H2SO4. So hydrogen, sulfur and oxygen is present. Hydrogen, sulfur and oxygen. The next compound they are given as acetic acid, CH3COOH. It is an acid. So here you have carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, that's all. So we have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So these are the compounds which are present in the liquid state. Let us go to the gaseous state. So we can see here they are given carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Carbon dioxide formula you know very well, we are studying from the lower class onwards, that is CO2. So I will write again the formula so it will be easy to just keep in your mind. How to write the formula for carbon dioxide? CO2. We are studied in the photosynthesis. CO2 and CO. This is carbon dioxide, this is carbon monoxide. It has carbon and oxygen. Then sulfur dioxide, SO2. It has sulfur and oxygen. Carbon, oxygen, sulfur, oxygen. These are the things present in the gaseous form. Then methane, CH4, again carbon and hydrogen. And we have ammonia, sorry, nitrogen dioxide and ammonia is there. Nitrogen dioxide, NO2, and ammonia is NH4. So NO2, nitrogen and oxygen, ammonia is nitrogen and hydrogen. So these are the compounds available in the gaseous form. Make a note of these formulas, it will be easy for you to remember. So now we are going to learn about the uses of compounds. So they have given a tabular column in your book. So common name is given as water. What is the chemical name? Dihydrogen monoxide. So water, it has 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. It is mentioned as dihydrogen monoxide. We know it is used for so many purposes, water. And what are the constituents present? Hydrogen and oxygen. Uses for drinking and as a solvent. The next is table salt. We are using table salt. Salt, what we are taking is nothing but sodium chloride. NaCl I have mentioned, it is in the solid form. NaCl, what are the constituents? Sodium and chloride. So it is used for our essential, that is eatable one. We are using that one in our daily life. Then sugar, it is nothing but sucrose. It contains carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. It is used for preparation of sweets and so many purposes in our daily life. The next is baking soda. It is also called as sodium bicarbonate. So sodium bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate can be written as NaHCO3. The constituents are sodium, hydrogen, carbon and oxygen. All the constituents are there in the proper ratio. So it is used in the fire extinguisher, preparation of baking powder and preparation of cakes and breads. Instead of yeast, they are using baking soda. Then for the fermentation process. The next is washing soda, is nothing but sodium carbonate. The formula for sodium carbonate is Na2CO3. Sodium, carbon and oxygen are the constituents. It is used in cleaning agents for soaps. That is used in the main ingredient for the soap. The next is bleaching powder. So bleaching powder is nothing but calcium oxychloride. So it has calcium, oxygen and chlorine. It is used for as a disinfectant. That is, we can see that is used for cleaning the waters. Bleaching powder will be added. It is also disinfectant and sterilizing the drinking water. The next is quicklime, is nothing but calcium oxide. So we are using to whitewash. That is nothing but this quicklime. So calcium and oxygen, manufacture of cement and glass. Sorry, slake lime only is used for whitewash. So calcium hydroxide, that is calcium oxide is different from calcium hydroxide. So calcium oxide will have calcium and oxygen alone, whereas this has hydrogen also as a constituent. Whitewashing of walls. The next is limestone, calcium carbonate, calcium, carbon and hydrogen, preparation of chalk pieces. So calcium can CaCO3. So you will learn to write all these formulas when you go for the higher class with the ions, exchange of ions, all these things. You will learn the formulas to write, chemical formulas to write. So that's all about this lesson. I hope I have completed the lesson. So now, just we can recall what are things studied in this class. We studied about the uses of metals and non-metals, as well as we studied about the metalloids, which is also called as semi-metals, and its uses. And also we studied about the compounds. What is a compound? A pure substance which is made up of 2 or more elements by a fixed ratio, by a chemical combination. So that is called as compounds. It is classified into 2 types. One is organic and inorganic compound. Organic compound is obtained from the natural source like plants and animals. That is called as organic compounds. We can say an example as proteins, carbohydrates and so on. The next is inorganic compounds, compounds which is obtained from the rocks and minerals, that is called as inorganic compounds, that can be made in the laboratory. Example, I can have chalk and baking powder, so many things are made in the laboratories. So we are all these things, this organic and inorganic can exhibit in 3 states. It can be in liquid or gas or solid. It can exist in all the 3 states of matter. So I have given some examples that is given in your book. The compounds which exist in the solid state is silica, that is nothing but the sand where we are seeing. So the formula is SiO3, and the compounds constituents are silicon and oxygen is present. Then next is potassium hydroxide. So seeing this the formula you can write what are the elements are present. Then this is sodium hydroxide. The next one is copper sulfate. The next one is zinc carbonate. So just write the formulas, it will be easy to see the what are the elements are present in this compound. The next we studied about compounds in the liquid state. Water, H2O, hydrogen and oxygen is present. Then HCl, this is called as hydrochloric acid. HNO3 is nitric acid and H2SO4 is sulfuric acid. And CH3COOH is nothing but the acetic acid. The constituents can be seen very clearly. We'll write the formulas. The next, and we studied about the compounds in the gaseous form. In gas state, we have carbon dioxide, CO2, dioxide, so CO2, carbon 1 oxide, that is monoxide. So it contains carbon and oxygen. The next one is sulfur dioxide, sulfur and oxygen. This is CH4, is nothing but methane, it contains carbon and hydrogen. And next we have nitrogen dioxide, that is NO2. Then NH4 is nothing but ammonia. So it is nitrogen and hydrogen, the constituents. So these are the compounds which are present in all three states. That is, we have seen the examples. After this, we studied about the examples which is given in your book in the tabular column. You just have a look of it, so it will be easy for you to understand. And also they are given some names which we use in our day-to-day life instead of using the chemical names. For example, copper sulfate is called as blue vitriol, as it is the color is blue in color, and ferrous sulfate is called as green vitriol. Just have your book, see in that one. Potassium nitrate is called as saltpetre, and sulfuric acid is called as oil of vitriol. Calcium sulfate is called as gypsum. Calcium sulfate hemihydrate, it is nothing but plaster of Paris which is used for making the statues. Potassium chloride is nothing but muriate of potash. So I hope you can understand the lesson. Just go through the lesson once so that it will be easy for you to identify the chemical names and try to practice with the symbols how to write. So ask your parents or any of your people who guide you to just say the element name and you write the symbols for that. So it will be easy in your mind. This is the basic thing what you learn. When you go up, no one will teach you all these things. So learn from now onwards. Thank you.